author of Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America, Gordon Chang. So, Gordon, good morning. Yesterday on Wake Up America, another expert on China, Steve Yates, cautioned us not to get too excited about this 90-day pause. He called it the beginning of the beginning. What do you think?
I think Steve is right. What President Trump yesterday talked about in his press availability was a total reset of the relationship. Basically, an opening of the Chinese economy to Americans. We've been wanting that for centuries. We thought we got that with China's accession to the World Trade Organization in 2001, but China violated all of its obligations. And then we had the January 2020 Phase 1 trade deal, and the Chinese violated that one as well, even though it was very easy for them to comply because all they had to do was just buy more U.S. goods and farm products. They didn't even have to change their economy. So, yes, we've got to be concerned that Xi Jinping, who wants a wartime economy, who doesn't want foreigners in his country, we have to be very concerned about that.
And we know that since news of this deal broke, you've talked about how President Trump is giving China an opportunity to step back from a collision course with the rest of the world. Can you explain more of what you mean by this?
Well, Xi Jinping believes that his only way out of a distressing situation in China is to export more to the world. And China already is the world's export powerhouse. So they want to flood the world with even more goods. Now, it's not just the United States that is extremely concerned about that, because nobody wants China to decimate their industries. What President Trump is saying to Xi Jinping is, you have an historic opportunity to rebalance the Chinese economy, to make consumption the fundamental basis of economic growth. And I'm giving you an off-ramp of 90 days. Now, I hope that Xi Jinping takes it. I don't think he will because of various factors. Because to change the Chinese economy would basically mean to undermine the Communist Party's basis of support. And that is not something that Xi Jinping wants to do. But President Trump is saying, you've got the opportunity to do this. Everyone in the world wants you to do this. Now do it. And if the Chinese don't do it, there probably will be severe consequences.
You know, that's one of the things, because I think you've said over and over again, you mentioned that China would have to give up some of the communist elements of their government and what that would look like, but they also want respect. And is that going to be something that may lead them to make some of these fundamental changes so they can gain the respect they believe they deserve in the global marketplace?
Yeah, that's a great point. The problem, though, is Xi Jinping has told the Chinese people for a half decade that China has already surpassed the United States and that we're in terminal decline. So Xi can't be seen to be giving in to American pressure. And if he were to fundamentally restructure the Chinese economy, that would be seen as a fundamental climb down for him. So I think that affects his personal legitimacy. He's already in trouble at home at the Communist Party. We see that with problems in the military, where it looks like he's losing influence. So I think that Xi Jinping is going to try and tough this out. And so 90 days from now becomes a very important point for the United States, because then the question is, are we going to give him another extension, which helps China more than us? Or is he actually going to do what is necessary? So, yeah, we'll all wait for 90 days from now.
What do you think is the biggest misconception that the American public has about China's intentions?
We don't listen to Chinese propaganda, and Xi Jinping is trying to impose China's imperial era system, where Chinese emperors believe that they not only had the mandate of heaven to rule what they call Tianxia, or all under heaven, but that heaven actually compelled them to do so. In other words, Xi Jinping believes he's the world's only legitimate ruler, which means that in his view, the United States is at best a Chinese colony. And although that's ludicrous, but we also know that the Chinese since 2017 have talked about the Moon and Mars as sovereign Chinese territory, a part of the People's Republic of China. So, yeah, because this is such ridiculous thinking, we say, well, no, they can't possibly think that. But we do need to listen to what they actually say, because we ignored what Osama bin Laden was saying, and that did not turn out well for us.
Information. Truth. is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.